Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. I convey my love and regards to all of you. Nowadays, lot of talks are going around on the concept of Sanatana Dharma. Here I am sharing what my Guru Swami R.Vaidyanathan had mostly dictated to me several years ago on Sanatana Dharma, which I would like to share with all of you. Sanatana Dharma, perhaps the greatest of dharmas, is today ill understood, and being ill understood, its benefits are not being perceived clearly. To understand Sanatana Dharma, one should understand the three tomes Shruti, Smriti, and Purana. First, let me take Shruti. What is Shruti? Shruti is that which is heard. It is the revealed scripture. So, it is authoritative. Shruti is called Veda, means wisdom. Vedanta means the end of wisdom or the cream of wisdom. Vedanta has another name called Upanishad. The subject matter of Upanishads is the highest wisdom possible in the world. It speaks about God, world, and individual, and talks about the substratum or the ground of the entire phenomenon. It says every individual, without any exception, is really the substratum self, but ignorant of it now. Because Vedanta gives the fundamental truth of our existence and the way or dharma to obtain it, it is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal or ancient, and Dharma tells us the way to obtain our eternal self. The eternal truth or Sanatana Dharma means that truth which is true in the past, true in the present, and also true in the future. Now, let us see what is Smriti. Smriti is that which is remembered. Bhagavad Gita falls under Smriti, means that which is remembered. The third is Purana. Purana means ancient. It deals with the ancient sacred stories that contains covertly the truth of Vedanta in a story form. The stories make people understand the importance of Dharma, which will make them live a dharmic life, which will in turn be conducive to know one's true self, one's true identity. In fact, sage Vyasa, who has written the Puranas with raised arms, has said that he has written the Puranas in a story form to make common people understand the subtle truths of Upanishad. Ramayana and Mahabharata can come under Puranas, though they are said to be itihasas. Therefore, Shruti, Smriti, and Puranas are the treasure house of Hindu Sanatana Dharma hierarchy. The Hindu scriptures speak about four values, Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. It means one should righteously earn one's livelihood and righteously enjoy the pleasures that the world has for us, so that the living itself will pave the way for realizing one's true identity. The first three Purusharthas are a means to earn the fourth. But if we forget the fourth, that is moksha, and neglect the first, that is dharma, and make the middle two, that is artha and kama, as the end in itself, we will be in trouble. The logic is this: if we forget the truth and think from a wrong premise, in other words, if we think from untruth, it will make us have unhealthy, selfish, cruel thoughts. That will hurt each other and in course of time will create chaos. That is what is almost happening now. So, whenever the highest value of human life, that is moksha, is forgotten and the values of dharma is dumped, and the other two, artha and kama, are given importance, the mind gets gross and the activity in the world tends to move in the wrong direction, increasing problems, and the problems go out of hands and in a particular stage will become hopeless and the situation will get worse. At that time, Sri Krishna says that God will assume a human form and come to this earth to revive, to correct our thinking. That's very important. He comes to revive our thinking. Thinking is the one that binds us or releases us. Manayeva Manishyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayoho. The very first teaching of Krishna to Arjuna is to correct his thinking. Krishna taught Arjuna that he is not the body but the immortal Atman, is it not? Krishna corrected the thinking of people through his words and made the mind move in the right direction. At one time, people had understood the declaration of the Upanishads that one is not the physical body but the immortal soul, and one should live one's life in such a way to realize one's true identity. This was natural to people at that time, and they lived a dharmic life that gave unity to the society. People had understood what the goal of life is and adhered to the way of life that was prescribed by seers and lived according to it. In other words, people lived in dharma. They lived in dharma, earned money in dharma, and enjoyed life without hurting or harming others, that is, enjoyed life in dharma. Such a life led them to moksha, the highest value of life. Moksha means release. Many people think moksha is death. No. Moksha means release. Release from what? From the delusion that I am the body notion and know one's true self as soul or Atman. This truth should be in the background in our living. For example, most of us know that the sun is stable and only the earth moves around it. But in our daily life, we talk like this: hey, keep that plant near that window because the sun comes there in the morning. We know the sun doesn't move, but when we talk, we have the truth in the background. So, having the truth of Sanatana Dharma in the background and without losing it, if we talk and walk in Dharma to our capacity, there will be less conflict in the world because the truth is there in the background to correct us. Such a dharmic way of life was dismantled, and in due course, the Dharma, the truth, have been jumbled up. The human factor intervened, and the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal truth, was misunderstood and mispracticed, as Sri Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Vedanta is Sanatana Dharma, and Gita is the explainer of Sanatana Dharma. and the Puranas are the practical application of Sanatana Dharma, a guide for the commoners. Thousands of years ago, everyone accepted the authoritative statements of Upanishads. The societies were small, and the hierarchy of Shruti, Smriti, and Puranas was natural to people. Now the world has changed unimaginably. So, in short, we should present the truth declared by the Upanishads as Sanatana Dharma. What is that truth? The discrimination between the eternal soul and the ephemeral body, which was the first teaching of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. This is the truth the Upanishads roar, the Bhagavad Gita explains, and the Puranas show the right way to follow it, especially to the ordinary folks. Puranas are there to make the subtle truths of Vedanta understood by the commoners and also to give a culture to a tradition. Here we are not going into the historical factors of those stories. They are extremely helpful to walk on Dharma. In those days, people do not question sages and elders in dharmic way of living. People took their words as Veda Vakyam. So, there was no problem. But as Sri Krishna says, the ancient truths have been distorted by the followers and misunderstood by people. In fact, every great religion has two books, one for the eternal truth declared by the promulgators, which is ever true, cannot be changed as being authoritative. The second one is guidelines to follow the truth in practical life, prepared by great human brains. The second one, that is the Smriti, should change according to the changing age. This is the essence of Sanatana Dharma. Atma means what you really are. Ajnana means ignorance. Bhranti means delusion or misknowing. Sanatana Dharma says that the body is not you, you are Atma. Now you are subject to Dehatma Bhranti, that is, I am the body delusion. Your Atma is eternal and pure, Amara, Amala. You are subject to Atma Swarupa Ajnana, that is, ignorance of your true self. So, your goal is Atma Jnana, self-knowledge, and Dehatma Bhranti, Nivritti, removal of ignorance. Your goal is self-knowledge and removal of ignorance. This is the heart of Sanatana Dharma, that Ishvara, from whom the entire Jagat proceeds, from whom the entire Jagat is pervaded, he who is the eternal Father of all souls, he who abides in the hearts of everyone as the inner ruler and controller, Antaryami, worship him by the right performance of the duties of life appertaining to your station in life and thereby attain him. Will it not be a great and good thing if more and more persons understand God in this way and worship him? So, as it has been already said, that the Vedanta is Sanatana Dharma, Gita is the explainer of Sanatana Dharma, and Puranas are the practical application of Sanatana Dharma, a guide for commoners. Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.